Hello guys, going to be going over the MLB PrizePicks slate for Tuesday, July 12th. The Guardians and White Sox are going to be playing a doubleheader in the morning, but the rest of the slate does kick off in the afternoon and night. So I'm going to try to give you guys the update like I usually do on Twitter when the runs and RBIs, of course, are up, and just when we do get lineups out tomorrow, if there's anything funky. But let's get into the video. First inning runs allowed. There is one I like the over on. That's going to be the Padres and Rockies Coors Field game. Mike Clevenger against Austin Gomber. Gomber, just a very bad pitcher. Clevenger has talent, but he's been dealing with a lot of injuries throughout kind of the past year. And his numbers are still okay, but anytime you have a pitcher in Coors, he's probably going to struggle. And the Rockies are a very good hitting team when they're at home. I expect the Padres to be able to put some runs off on Gomber in the first inning. So I like this one. The odds, DK Sportsbook, over 0.5 is at a minus 195, which anything, again, above a 137 is good using PrizePicks' payout structure. So this one looks like to be a standout play for the over. I would put it in a tier 2 just because first inning plays are still pretty volatile. But because it is Coors, that's why it's going in the tier 2. On to strikeouts. This is where the favorite play of the day for me is at. Chris Sale posted this about over an hour ago. 4.5 strikeouts against the Rays. Taking the over. Making this one a lock. He's going to be on a limit of 85 pitches, but for how good of a pitcher that Sale is, obviously he hasn't pitched this season yet, but he's one of the top pitchers in the game. He's been that for quite some time now. And his K rate, this is just insane. This year he was close to a 40% K rate. And the Rays, right now, they don't have Wander Franco. G-Man Choi, probably not going to be in the lineup because it's a lefty. So you're going to be looking at like Yandy Diaz, Harold Ramirez, who are lower strikeout guys. But this lineup is going to have a ton of high strikeout percentage players. And still at 85 pitches, I think he honestly still can get 7 Ks. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets 8 or 9 even on that limit. And it is a pitcher's ballpark, so that's another plus for Chris Sale. And I just think that they kind of set this number too low. It should probably be 5.5 is probably more fair. So at 4.5, this is going to be a lock for me. And then for a pitcher fantasy score play that I like, it's going to be Garrett Cole, just another top pitcher in the league. He's been phenomenal this year. His splits, he's a lot better when he's pitching at home, 2.31 ERA. He gets just a very good matchup against the Reds. Now they have to play in Yankee Stadium, which it's a hitter's ballpark, but it's not as good as Cincinnati, where the Reds play half their games. And the Reds, they have a pretty heavy right-handed lineup. Garrett Cole, he's another one of those guys that's just elite, has over a 30% K rate this season. And they're taking on the Reds, which they're just not a good team. They have a bad bullpen. They're pitching Graham Ashcraft, who's been a good starter, but the Yankees, I think they have the best record in baseball still. They're probably going to win, so of course they're going to put Cole in a position to get that +6, and a quality start seems to be always a lock for this guy. So that's 10 points that Cole can definitely get, and then he's going to get your strikeouts. So I think this line's too low. I probably don't want to touch it if it's 44, 45.5, but at 42.5, I do like the over quite a bit. And then on to hitting. So the first one, Ty France, 6.5, taking the over. He was a lefty masher before the season, but he's actually had reverse splits. He's been a lot better against righties, and he's just a very good player. He's 27 years old. He should have been an all-star. Maybe that's a narrative, actually, because he didn't make it. Taking on Josiah Gray. Gray, he's not a bad pitcher, and he struggles against lefties, but he's 7 homers against righties. His issues, again, they're lefties, but his splits at home, somehow he's a lot worse. Maybe this has something to do with the matchups, but for the pitch types, so against righties, it's the fastball slider pretty much, and then also mixed in is a curve. Ty France, his splits a lot better against righties this season compared to previous years. And for him, fastball, slider, 4 8-run values, curveball, 5-run values. So he pretty much just crushes what Josiah Gray throws. And maybe, again, that incentive, just kind of something that motivates Cy France to say, hey, I should have been an all-star first game since the all-star snub. Maybe that's what, gets him going or something. Back from injury for a few games now, so should be good to go here. And this game is in some pretty good hitting weather. 87 degrees with 9-mile winds blowing out. Also, the away team. So that's going to help him maybe get an additional at bat if they do hit in the ninth, of course. And then on the other side, Josh Bell, 6.5. Taking on Chris Flexen. Flexen is pretty much just one of those guys on the Mariners that, because they play in a pitcher's ballpark, they have good numbers at home, but then when they're away, they kind of struggle. And that's going to be the case for Flexen here. His numbers are not good, but looking at this, a 4 ERA, he's been protected by, I think it's T-Mobile Park is what it's called now in Seattle. But that ERA, expected ERA over a full run higher, 281 expected BA, and his splits, he's actually allowed more home runs to righties, but his splits, lefties, he's not good against them either. And you can see away this season, he's not, like terrible, but his splits in the previous years, kind of like Marco Gonzalez, just someone else that they're not really good pitchers. They don't K guys. They kind of rely on weak contact, but they're really not good when it especially comes to road games. And for the pitch types, fastball, cut, changeup against lefties. Josh Bell, better hitter against right-handed pitchers. And then the pitch types again, fast, cut, change, fastball right there, change, cutter. So the cutter, -1, but 312 batting average. Like, I'm not going to be scared off of that. 595 expected slugging. That's better than the fast and the changeup. So, expected BA much higher than batting average, almost double. So I'm perfectly fine with this. Cutter also is going to be the third pitch or second pitch that Flexen has, and I just think this is a good spot for Bell. Again, good hitting weather. Flexen not a good pitcher, so that's why I do like Bell. I think these projections should just be 7.5, honestly. And then an under next is actually Nick Castellanos at 7.5. He's been really struggling this year. The Blue Jays should be starting Kevin Gausman. This is only an underplay if Gausman is the starter. Gausman, a very good pitcher. I know his PVP numbers aren't bad, but keep in mind that Castellanos, he's having a bad year right now. Gausman hasn't been this great of a pitcher as he's been the past, I think it's 2 seasons now. So don't factor that PVP in too much. And Castellanos, he doesn't really hit the splitter that well, but the slider is that pitch that really is giving him problems right now. And Gausman is a fastball, slider, and split guy. So, yeah, as long as Gausman is fully healthy, I think this is a very good play for the under. Castellanos, again, just not a good year right now for him. Striking out a ton. And again, that slider, -7 run value. Like, that's pretty insane. Splitters at 0. Fastball, of course, everyone pretty much hits the fastball well, but I think it's 7.5 with like some of the Phillies guys like Bryce Harper out, Alec Baum. This is also a series in Toronto, so being away, Philly going to be missing some guys with the travel restrictions and all that. So I think an underplay for Castellanos looks pretty good. And then this one also going to be a tier 1 play. Kyle Tucker, 6.5, the over. Altuve would have been, but he's been bumped up to 8.5. Yeah, Tucker, if he's still at 6.5, yes, over, locking this one. If you guys don't know, I love targeting Noah Syndergaard. I factor in stolen bases allowed pretty heavily, I would say, compared to other people. And just pulling up Kyle Tucker, he's been one of the unluckiest batters, really, in all of baseball this season. 259 batting average, 302 expected. He walks a ton. Syndergaard, not someone that has a ton of walk issues, but he doesn't really strike my guys out. Tucker doesn't either. And so I think when you walk, you have a high expected batting average, he should be able to get on base. And he is obviously going to be in a great stolen base spot. Tucker has 14 on the year. He will look to steal. I mean, this whole Astros team is, every team is when you're playing against Syndergaard, but for him, 14 stolen bases on the season, leads the team, I believe. And Syndergaard, he's allowed a ton. Stassi, Suzuki aren't good base stealing catchers to stop stolen bases. So I think, with Syndergaard also, he really struggles on the road, so that's another thing that just plays well into Kyle Tucker's favors. And here for the pitch types, change-up fastball for lefties, change-up fastball for Tucker. -5 for the change-up. Obviously doesn't look great, but again, he's been a very unlucky hitter. 100 BA, expected is 297. So it's just going to be a lot better for him against the changeup. Last year he was a +7 in run value, so I expect just for Tucker to be really good today. And then the next one, we're going to go to total bases. And these are going to be course plays. So Luke Voigt and Charlie Blackmon, both at 1.5 for Blackmon taking on Clevenger, Voigt taking on Gomber. So Blackmon, just like any Rocky, you're going to have better splits when you're playing at home. And Clevenger, his actually had some struggles against lefties. So that's why I think this one is still a good play. And Blackmon, I mean, he started off pretty cold, but he's really been picking it up. And of course, he's going to be playing a lot better against righties. For Blackmon this season, you can see it, or for Clevenger rather, his splits against lefties, he's just a lot weaker against them. 2019, a lot higher of a whip, walks a lot of guys when it comes to lefties. So if you guys are concerned about that, I would say you want to take the fantasy score. That's fine. But when you're in cores, I just expect guys to be able to swing the bat, be able to put the ball in play. And Clevenger, his walk rate isn't really that high. So hopefully that's not an issue here when it comes to Blackmon just getting walked a ton or something. But the pitch types, so Blackmon, for whatever reason, he's actually been really bad against the fastball, lefties, fastball, slider, or fastball change, slider mostly. Change and slider, really good, 8 and 4, two of the top pitches. But fastball, I mean, same thing. Like, expected numbers are a lot higher than what the real numbers are. And for Blackmon, he's historically destroyed the fastball. So I don't think he's going to be staying at a -9 run value for the season. And again, just taking advantage of Clevenger's weaknesses against lefties. And then on the other side, so Luke Voigt, for him, he's actually had reverse splits. He's been better against righties this season. But Gomber, he's just terrible against everyone. But particularly against righties, he's allowed a ton of homers. His splits here allowed 13, I believe. 13 home runs against righties. So Voigt, surprisingly, he hasn't had a homer this season against a lefty. But I think that's going to change soon. You look at his splits, like, he's just been a better hitter against lefties. He should be. Last year, the average, if you look at that, home runs, he's just a power bat. He's going to strike out. But Gomber, he doesn't really strike guys out. That should mitigate Voigt's high strikeout percentage. And if you're able to put the ball in Coors Field, good things happen. So I like that. And then for pitch types for him, so Gomber, fastball, and slider. And then Voigt, not going to look particularly great, but for the fastball and slider, though, those are two of the best pitches so far for this season in terms of run value. So that's good to see. But again, it's just Coors Field. On top of how good of Coors is, you also have 88-degree temperatures and 8-mile winds blowing out. So just even more fantasy goodness for this game. Then, runs and RBI still aren't up, so gonna have to just post those later. But overall, the favorite plays are gonna be Chris Sale and Kyle Tucker. So those are the two favorite ones for personal plays on my radar. Ian Happ over 6.5, Laureano over 6.5, Adolis Garcia over 6, and then stolen base targets: Noah Syndergaard, Dylan Cease, Glenn Otto, James Caprillion, Kevin Gossman, Corey Kluber, Jordan Lyles, Garrett Cole, Chris Flexen, Chris Sale, and Luis Garcia. Same thing though, like, I'm not really targeting any of the batters against these pitchers unless I mention them in the video. So that's just, if you guys want to play guys, if you already like them for hitting, maybe there's added in like a stolen base upside that you will kind of like take you over the top and want to play the overs. So that is it for the video for today. Got an absolutely loaded slate, 16 games. So I'm pretty confident in these plays. I would say did pretty well on Monday. So let's keep it going for this Tuesday. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck on the slate, and I will see you in the next video.